Welcome to Central Oregon Daily News with David Clue, Genevieve Rayon, and Chief Meteorologist Darrell Wenninger. Central Oregon Daily News starts now.
The new luxury RV resort on the southeast side of Bend could be just about a month away from its soft opening.
The developers call it a one-of-a-kind facility in Central Oregon at a time when RVing has become more popular than ever before. Our Steele Haugen checked in on what's being called the Bend RV Resort. It's off Murphy Road. So Steele, this was supposed to open in spring of this year, right?
Yeah, that's correct. But due to some electrical issues, the date was pushed back. Right now, the resort is still in its few final construction phases before we start seeing dozens of RVs spending the night just off Highway 97. What's being called a luxury RV resort is ramping up construction on Murphy Road on the south side of Bend.
We've got 176 sites, a lot of awesome luxury RV resort amenities, swimming pool, 5 pickleball courts. We've got a 6,000 square foot clubhouse we're calling the Hub.
The Bend RV Resort was scheduled to open in the spring, but with delays, they're aiming for a new opening date.
Currently, we're experiencing some delays with our electrical system, but that's moving as well. We currently have reservations open on bendrvresort.com starting for Labor Day weekend. Hoping to do a soft opening here in August at some point.
General Manager George Kroll says in the summer, a stay at the RV park will cost around $120.
I think anybody that's looked for a room or a spot to park their RV here in Bend knows that the prices are generally pretty high. So we think 176 more sites coming online will definitely create some availability that it'll make it easier for people to find a spot to stay when they come to visit.
Staffing's filled at the moment, but come next summer, the RV resort will hire a full team to help run the site.
So they can expect a hotel level experience at an RV resort. The only difference is when they're done staying with us, they take the room along with them.
Reservations are still open for that Labor Day weekend slot, and additional reservations will remain open throughout the year. David, Genevieve, back to you.
It'll be interesting to see that come together, Steele. Thank you. An effort to make Bend more bikeable coming at a cost for several local businesses. The Midtown Crossing project will eliminate storefront parking for half a dozen of those local businesses. The impacted ones are on Greenwood Avenue between Hill and Harriman Streets. The city is proposing replacing the current system of parallel parking on the north side of the avenue with a protected bike lane.
It's just a lot of paint and some vertical, bollards and delineators to help guide people. And then we plan to be back in front of council in a year with some data and some feedback on whether or not this was an effective use of the system or not.
Other changes include reducing the number of travel lanes from 4 to 2 and installing a center turn lane. The Bend City Council will discuss this proposal at its Wednesday meeting.
New homes on Bend's west side priced at less than $300,000. It's Rooted Homes' new affordable housing development on Simpson Avenue. It's near the roundabout with Mount Washington. Units at Simpson will look very similar to the renderings you're about to see here in just a moment. Lottery applications open Monday. They close August 28th. That's a pretty good look at what those homes will look like. The 40 buyers selected in the lottery can begin earning equity, but they can't sell the home at market price.
These developments are built under the Community Land Trust model. You earn a fixed amount of equity of 1.5% based on what your first mortgage is. So the sales price is calculated by 1.5% based on the initial price times the number of years you lived in your home.
So the model aims to keep the housing affordable for future buyers as well. Homes are expected to close next summer.
Turning to weather now, bringing in Chief Meteorologist Darrell Wenninger. And Darrell, we know that there's several fires burning just around the state of Oregon. What does it look like in terms of smoke and air quality?
Well, currently we've only seen a little bit of reduced air quality, but that smoke is going to become an issue through the next couple of days, as well as hot temperatures plus more moisture equals a risk of some thunderstorm activity. So right now, a little bit of smoke coming in from the Falls Fire just outside of Crook County, but for the most part, Central Oregon is in the green or good air quality. But let's talk about some of these fires. First, the Falls Fire continues to grow. Where you're seeing the flames with the red surface, that's where we've grown the fire today. So it's still continuing to expand. We also have the Lone Rock fire. Again, this is everything that burned yesterday. That yellow color, the red, is what's been burning today. So each fire getting significantly bigger, except for the one that's not growing too much is the Larch Creek fire. Now, it's still not anywhere near contained, but it is something we're continuing to track. When it comes to smoke from these fires, here through tonight, not going to be that bad. Tomorrow, as winds stay around to this from the south, more of that smoke starts to come into the area, and we're looking at periods of reduced and even poor air quality. Now, stay with us because we'll have more to talk about it when it comes to hot temperatures and some of these thunderstorms tomorrow. I'll be back in a little bit.
Thanks, Darrell. And new at 11, an important reminder as dog owners hit local trails this summer, some of those surfaces can be tough on doggy paws. We're going to show you some photos from Cannon Beach Rural Fire Protection District on Friday. This 160-pound Great Pyrenees was hiking Saddle Mountain when he just refused to walk anymore. Turns out his paws were raw and cut from the climb. Just look at him, look at us on the stretcher, look at the photographer on the stretcher there. So dogs are allowed on this trail, but the district says in recent years they've had more calls for help at this trail due to hurt paws or dehydration. This specific trail has a lot of wire fencing like you see for traction and stability. That, plus just walking on rocks for an extended period of time, can hurt those dog pads. So a good reminder to consider booties for your fur baby if you like to hike a lot, or start with shorter hikes and gradually increase to let the pad get used to the terrain.
I hope that Great Pyrenees owner learned a lesson there. The long-awaited reopening of the Canita Hot Springs Resort in Warm Springs has now been announced. The resort is set to open to the public on Thursday for the first time since it closed back in 2018. It brings back its teepees, hot springs, as well as newly renovated hotel and RV park. If you want to book your stay, online booking for the resort begins on Wednesday.
With an intense heat wave now baking the high desert and much of the country, power grids from coast to coast are being stretched to their limits. But the growth of both solar and wind energy means there's already more power on the grid. Ben Tracy explains why meeting renewable energy goals will now require more batteries, a lot more batteries.
Did you ever think you'd be working next to solar panels all day?
I did not. It's a much more peaceful environment.
Rachel Harper used to work in the oil and gas industry in Texas.
And now you're in renewable energy.
Yes, big pivot.
Do you like this better?
I like this way better.
She's now at a startup in California called B2U. It takes the still usable batteries out of older electric vehicles, slides them into large racks,
Plug and play. Simple as that.
and then plugs them into solar panels so they can store solar power.
We're basically a retirement home for these EV batteries.
You're basically just using these as storage.
Yes, battery storage.
Battery storage is what allows renewable energy to provide power even when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. It's key to making the electrical grid reliable as we transition away from coal and gas and their planet-warming emissions. Batteries can also help keep the lights on when heat waves like the one roasting the West this week batter the grid.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of the electricity sector.
As Director of Energy Storage and Systems at UC San Diego, Mike Ferry is at the forefront of battery technology.
So this is where we're really inventing the next generation of batteries.
He says batteries are getting better and costs are dropping. That's allowed California to install more than 10,000 megawatts of battery storage, equivalent to the output of about 5 nuclear power plants. California and Texas account for nearly all of the battery storage in the nation and have more than any other country except for China.
This year, 81% of all new capacity on our national grid is going to be solar and storage. And these two technologies go hand in hand, sort of like chocolate and peanut butter.
Nationwide, solar power is the fastest growing form of renewable energy, but still accounts for only about 5% of electricity generated. In California, it's nearly 30%, thanks to massive new projects like this one in the Mojave Desert. Its 2 million panels near Edwards Air Force Base can be seen from space.
These are all full of batteries?
They're all full of batteries, as many as we can put in them.
Gus Luna is Chief Development Officer for TerraGen, which built the more than 4,000-acre site, now the largest solar storage facility in the country. enough to power about 250,000 homes.
This really is what's going to make renewable energy work.
Correct. Without this, I think renewable energy would hit a limit fairly quickly.
California, the 5th largest economy in the world, aims to run on 100% renewable energy by 2045.
You'll probably need something like another 20, maybe 30 more of these projects to be able to reach that.
Because to truly make all those panels and turbines work, you need batteries included. I'm Ben Tracy in the Mojave Desert.
The attempt on Donald Trump's life is just the latest in a string of attacks targeting political figures in this country over the last few years. Is what happened, though, in Pennsylvania at that rally a continuation of the same or a chance to finally search for common ground? A closer look when we return.
I don't blink when freedom calls. United, always standing tall. Side by side like brothers in arms. We're made in America.
At Gary Gruner, we know Central Oregon helps make this country great. That's why we sell trucks that work as hard as you do. Gary Gruner Chevrolet GMC and Mattress. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care.
Tour the best homes Central Oregon has to offer this year during the COBA Tour of Homes this weekend. Friday through Sunday only, final weekend. First-time homebuyer homes all the way through homes worth more than $4 million. You will find them all at the COBA Tour of Homes, presented by Harcourt's The Garner Group. There are 49 houses on the Tour of Homes this year throughout all of Central Oregon. Be sure to look for the COBA logo and official tour sign. For more information and to view the homes virtually, visit coba.org.
The ultimate hunting and fishing trip starts at Fin and Fire Fly Shop. Gear and apparel suited for any environment. Find comfort and quality crafted by the best brands around, like Crispy, Sitka, Sims, Benchmade, and Stone Glacier. Being prepared never looked so cool. Stop by Fin and Fire today to see where the hunt takes you. Fin and Fire Fly Shop on South Highway 97 in Redmond. When your project begins, Mountain States Materials is ready, carrying Central Oregon's largest selection of bark, rock, soil, flagstone, and hardscapes, supporting projects of any size, from residential to commercial. You can pick it up or we'll deliver it, no matter the size of the load, saving you time and saving you money. Call today to get your groundwork started or find us on Highway 97 just north of Redmond. Mountain States Materials. We've got you covered.
Central Oregon politicians from both sides of the aisle united in speaking out against the violence that unfolded against former President Donald Trump this weekend. Republican Lori Chavez-Dreamer saying she is devastated and troubled by the violence. Quote, political violence in all forms is reprehensible and uniquely un-American. Her opposition this fall, Democrat Janelle Bynum, saying violence has no place in this country and she condemns the shooting unequivocally. Redmond Mayor Ed Fitch also sending us a statement saying he and City Council are relieved the former president survived, adding they are praying for more unity in our country.
Trump said his planned convention speech at the Republican National Convention was initially going to be a tough one, but in an interview with the Washington Examiner, he said the shooting prompted him to change his focus, shifting from an attack on President Biden's policies to a message of unity.
The question now, after so much vitriol in the political climate, could we see a shift in the bitterness that's gripped the country for years? Rhiannon Alley reports.
Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th.
President Biden last night called on Americans to turn down the political temperature. The president referencing several frightening incidents since the January 6th attack on the Capitol, including the plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the attack on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Over the past 10 years, we've seen nearly a doubling in threats to public officials at all levels of government.
Elizabeth Newman worked in the Homeland Security Department. She says inflammatory rhetoric is helping fuel the violence.
We really need to get back to reasserting norms that embrace peaceful dialogue, respectful dialogue, and also not be afraid to disagree.
Since Saturday's attack, Disturbing examples of divisive political speech quickly surfaced online. Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson terminated a staffer after she posted on Facebook that the gunman at the Trump rally needed some shooting lessons. Earlier this year, Thompson introduced a bill that would have terminated Secret Service protections for felons. It did not pass.
We are an angry, divided nation, and that anger and division has become intertwined in our political discourse.
There are indications that Saturday's tragedy could be a turning point. Former First Lady Melania Trump thanking those who have reached out beyond the political divide to send their family support. Others are looking to the past as they hope for a better future.
It's going to take strong leadership to turn this ship of vitriol around. I remember back when I was in high school, America was in a very bad state. And then along came Ronald Reagan, and everyone thought he was going to start World War III. And he turned out to be a great leader for all Americans. And we need that again right now.
Rhiannon Alley, New York.
Well, experts say one of the big problems today is that not enough people are getting out into their communities to engage with people face to face.
All we can do is hope this weekend's violence can simmer that political divide. And stay with us. Darrell has your full forecast after the break.
High Desert Chamber Music launches its first ever celebrity recital with one of America's foremost violinists, Stephane Jacquet, July 28th in Bend. Get tickets now at highdesertchambermusic.com.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you. I've swiped on you. No.
Oh, I got an idea.
I feel hungry.
Let's go.
Whatever your vibe,
Tacos.
Definitely tacos.
find it in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
I was a freshman in college when my aunt was unfortunately struck and killed by a drunk driver. Through that process, I saw how unfair it is for people that don't have lawyers and don't understand the process, how the insurance carrier treats them and bullies them and convinces them that their loved one isn't worth all that much or their injuries aren't worth all that much. That always stuck with me and resonated because I care. And then in 2003, I graduate, and then Roy and I start this firm shortly thereafter.
Dwyer Williams Turcos, on your side at every step of the way. Injured and need help? Go to roydwyer.com.
Hey Oregon, looking for new furniture? M. Jacobs is Oregon's largest in-stock furniture store.
M. Jacobs, fully stocked with lift chairs, sectionals, sleep chests, and more. Plus, the best selection of brand name mattresses in stock today.
M. Jacobs offers free statewide delivery, no matter where you live in Oregon. It's that simple. M. Jacobs in Eugene, Springfield, Bend, and anywhere in Oregon at mjacobsfurniture.com.
High Desert Chamber Music launches its first ever celebrity recital with one of America's foremost violinists, Stephane Jacquet, July 28th in Bend. Get tickets now at highdesertchambermusic.com.
Get news on the go. Download the Central Oregon Daily News app, powered by Boss Mortgage.
All right, Darrell, it's finally pleasant outside overnight.
Yeah.
You can crack your windows or maybe go for a nice walk and actually feel like you're getting cool down a little bit.
Yeah, but the pleasant overnight comes with a catch to that. It's been hot during the day. Today we were well into the 90s once again. This is above normal for this time of the year, unseasonably hot, if you will. And temperatures right now, like Genevieve mentioned, pretty nice. 60s, couple 70s out there. It's still 79 degrees in Warm Springs and already 55 in Sun River. But for the most part, we are sitting in the 60s. And when it comes to satellite and radar, the clouds that we had earlier today have thinned out. So have the sprinkles that were pushing through earlier. Looking at the bigger picture, though, we do still have that ridge of high pressure just offshore, and there's a low that's developing right on the coastline of Northern California. This low is going to work its way right up the coastline, and it's going to bring us some wraparound moisture because it has a counterclockwise rotation. That's just pulling a lot of that moisture right into Central Oregon by the time we get to tomorrow. So for the next few days, it's still going to be hot. It will be breezy at times, and by tomorrow afternoon, scattered showers are expected with some thunderstorms possible. Now, because of this, we have fire weather concerns. So let's go ahead and break those down. This map is from the Storm Prediction Center, and it's showing that we are expecting to see some thunderstorms in Central Oregon, really the southern 2/3 of the state, maybe 3/4 three-quarters of the state, give or take a few spots, is where the potential for thunderstorm activity is. Nothing severe, but some of them could produce abundant lightning. So the National Weather Service from earlier today has had a fire weather watch in effect for the Tri-County area to our south and to our west. Now for Central Oregon, that's going to be until Wednesday evening. But for South Central Oregon, it's really only going to be until tomorrow evening. There's also a red flag warning right around Medford until 8 p.m. tomorrow evening as well. Now, there is a good chance that a lot of those fire weather watches are going to be upgraded to red flag warnings through the day tomorrow, and here's why. Our forecast model shows that there are some light clouds over the high desert during the next couple of hours. By tomorrow morning, we have increasing clouds, and watch what happens once we get to the midday and afternoon hours. Some showers start to develop throughout south central and southeastern Oregon, even along the crest of the Cascades. As those push further north, some scattered showers and some thunderstorms are expected across parts of the Tri-County area. Now, it's not going to be everybody. Some of us even stay dry. But because of that chance of thunderstorm activity, that's why we have the higher fire weather concerns. It's still going to be hot, though, 90s and some triple digits. By Wednesday, 90s and just a few triple digits, and all of that activity works its way to the state line and into Idaho. And then by Thursday, still 90s, still a few triple digits, and a whole lot of sunshine. So for tonight, 50s are expected with a few 40s, couple 60s maybe. And then by tomorrow, we're looking at 90s with some triple digits, scattered showers, a few thunderstorms, and then we stay in the 90s with some triple digits through the rest of the 7-day planner. Another chance of rain by Sunday.
Dear Plugged In, as always, you're a step ahead. Turn up the fun full throttle in Toyota's all-electric BZ4X with available all-wheel drive and Toyota quality you can trust. So charge up and let's go. Yours, BZ4X.
Right now, you can lease a new 2024 BZ4X for $309 a month. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Discover Ben's best selection of quality outdoor furniture in stock and ready for delivery at Powder House Ski and Patio. The season for outdoor living is here, and there is no better time to redefine your outdoor space than now. Patio furniture for every home at Powder House.
Bring on the summer. Custom order discounts available now at Patio World. Save 10 to 20% on qualifying custom orders. Choose from our vast selection of lounge and dining sets and tailor your outdoor living space to your personal style. Crafted with quality that lasts a lifetime. Visit Patio World today and save with custom order discounts. Bring on the sun.
See the best of Redmond window treats at the all-new Hunter Douglas Gallery on Canal Boulevard. Live comfortably and save energy with beautifully designed shades that keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Our shades don't just look good. Every project is carefully thought out to enhance your living space. Come see the possibilities for yourself or call to schedule a consultation. Redmond Window Treats, serving all of Central Oregon with custom draperies, shutters, shades, blinds, and more.
Central Oregon has an endless supply of sunny summer days to enjoy relaxing in your backyard. Powder House has everything you need to create your outdoor paradise. Stop in today and relax in one of 60 patio sets on display at Powder House Ski and Patio.
The Secret Service was thrust into the spotlight this weekend when they rushed on stage to protect former President Trump during a shooting.
And tonight we're hearing from a veteran who not only served a decade in the Marines, but also spent time as a Secret Service agent.
On this week's edition of War Stories, we're hearing from Lloyd Phelps.
Well, I was born in Portland, Oregon in 1942. Lived there till I went in the Marine Corps. Moved over here to Bend in 2004. I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps and 8 years as a Secret Service agent. The big thing looking towards the future was electronics and computers and all that. So I thought, well, maybe if I went in the military, I could get some specialized training in that field, and then when I came out, why I would have a skill set that I could use and get a good job perhaps. My father had been in the Navy, and my older brother, was in the Navy at the time, and I didn't want to be out in the ship all the time. I wanted to be closer to my family, so I thought the Marine Corps would be a good choice. So I started my career as a private, and 10 years later when I left, I was a captain. After basic school, I did have orders to go to Vietnam to be assigned to the 1st Recon Battalion. And as a second lieutenant, I was a platoon leader. And I get a mission order, you're going out patrol 2 days on the 25th. We loaded up into our helicopter and went out to where we were supposed to be inserted into the jungle area. We move out through this very tall elephant grass, about 10 feet tall, and we heard some noise up ahead of us and stopped, and I could tell that it sounded like birds, but somebody was trying to sound like a bird and send signals or something. And we heard them coming down and just totally encircling us. Things were getting rather dire. Nobody had shot or anything, but they knew exactly where we were. And they surrounded us, basically. We really felt like we probably weren't gonna, see the sun go down that day. We all opened fire, and we did fight our way back, and it got to be a big grenade throwing contest, and North Vietnamese soldiers on one side of us were throwing grenades up. We could see them going over us and landing on their, they didn't have very good communication with each other, and they were killing themselves, basically. The Marine next to me was killed, and I was wounded. My radio operator was wounded, and the corpsman was wounded, and a couple of others. But we were just being hit with grenade fragments, so nobody got shot or anything. My corpsman, even though he was wounded, he was trying to do CPR on my Marine who I knew was dead. And I kind of pulled him away, and I said, we've got to move out of here and get down to the LZ. And nobody said that, hey, we're going to die today or anything, but I could tell by the looks on people's faces that everybody was pretty much feeling the way I was feeling. I made it down to the end, and I was going to lead them basically back to the landing zone. But we all stayed together. We dragged bodies or wounded or whatever. Consistent theme in the Marine Corps. You never leave anybody behind, dead or alive or wounded or whatever. Once I decided to leave the Marine Corps, I made that decision before I really had made a decision about what I wanted to do. So the guy walks up to me and introduces himself, and he said he worked for the Secret Service. I said, well, have you ever thought about the Secret Service? And I said, well, not really. I don't even know what they do. So he told me a little bit about it, and I was a little older than the average agent because I had spent all these years in the Marine Corps, and a lot of the new agents were just out of college. And I had combat experience. I was a Marine Corps officer and all that. I think that was all kind of impressive. So I started in the Washington field office. And after a couple of years, they tried to get you some experience on a protective detail. And being in Washington, the two main protective details were the president's detail and the vice president's detail. And so I got a 30-day assignment to Vice President Agnew's detail. I knew that there was two major Secret Service offices that supported the protection mission, and one of them was the Intelligence Division, and one was the Technical Security Division. But I knew somebody pretty well, a supervisor in the Intelligence Division, so I called him up and I said, well, hey, I'm not cut out for this protection stuff for years on end. Can you get me into the Intelligence Division? And the Secretary of State was Henry Kissinger. And he and President Nixon were good buddies, but he talked President Nixon into having Secret Service protection. And so when he traveled to the Middle East, we sent an advance team over in advance to make security arrangements. And so they always had an intelligence agent from the Intelligence Division on that advance team to work with the CIA and the local authorities and whatnot. And so I did a lot of traveling in the Middle East and as well as around the United States. After 2 years there, I got transferred out to Portland, Oregon. 4 years then in the Portland field office before I left the Secret Service, 1979, I guess it was. So.
Dear 2031, we look forward to seeing you. After our 160-point quality assurance inspection, we'll be Toyota certified used vehicles with 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranties. Not to honk our own horns, but the best new cars make the best used cars. Yours, Toyota.
Get 6.39% APR for up to 60 months on many of your favorite Toyota certified used models. Find yours at toyotacertified.com. Toyota, let's go places.
You know it's true. No one else gonna love you like I do. No one else gonna love you like I do.
Dixie's Western and Outdoor Clothing, in the heart of downtown Sisters.
At Evolution Automotive, we believe trust and loyalty are earned, and customer service stands above all. We believe repairs shouldn't come with surprise pricing and can be done right the first time. No tricks, no gimmicks, just honesty and integrity. That's the way we've been doing it since 1962. Get a bumper-to-bumper inspection starting at $85. Evolution Automotive, off Empire in Bend.
I've watched Central Oregon grow for over 30 years. It's amazing to see the impact word of mouth has on our community. A sincere referral truly goes a long way. Glass Accents was built on those referrals, from consultation to job completion. Our goal is to make your experience easy to share with your family, friends, and neighbors. Give us a call today to get your project completed on time. Glass Accents, serving Central Oregon with a touch of glass.
All right, business in the front, party in the back.
Mullets.
Of course, one of the country's most iconic hairstyles, and happening right now, the USA Mullet Championships.
No.
Yep.
Stop
and meet some of the competitors.
Oh boy.
Probably go to a Texas Rangers game, and probably maybe, if we can, Disney World.
All of Sissy's friends like your hair?
Yep.
What do you call your hair?
My girl hair.
That's what he calls his hair. Look at that curly
he's
mullet.
adorable, though,
I mean,
with or without
watch
the mullet.
that,
Look at that.
right? You can actually go online right now to mulletchamp.com and vote for who you think has the best mullet. Tons of different age groups and categories. But the photos online are hysterical. These kids are cute.
Both know how to shake their mullet thing.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Don't they?
Wow.
That's awesome.
I mean, I really do recommend going online and just looking at the contestants.
Oh, you were showing it to me
Yeah,
earlier.
I just showed David because it's hilarious.
You pick one winner and then you thumb through a few more and you're like, no, that's the
winner. There's like classic mullets and there's mohawk mullets and there's curly mullets. Anyways, I could go on. You just have to talk about hot weather.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot. So the longer hair, it just I don't know if
sweaty mullets.
I don't know if it's my thing. Now through the day tomorrow there is some scattered showers expected. There are scattered showers expected with some thunderstorms possible. There's already a fire weather watch. It's probably gonna become a red flag warning, and then it just stays hot and getting hotter.
I'll say, look at that weekend coming up.
199.
Triple digits again. All right.
Have a good night.
When concrete sinks, it's never pretty and usually not safe. Terra Firma has the solution. Our expanding foam is the no-mess way to lift sinking concrete at a fraction of the cost of replacing it. Call us today for fast, clean concrete repair.
Behold! The Wilson Summer of Spectacular Savings Event.
This sale is epic.
Right now, we're rolling out spectacular deals on England, Napa, Parker House, and Liberty Furniture. Sofas, sectionals, recliners, lift chairs, dining and bedroom sets, too.
Get your place ready for summer for less.
The Summer of Spectacular Savings Event.
It's huge.
Happening now at Wilson's of Redmond.
Keeping it local since 1962.
Win tickets to concerts at Hayden Holmes Amphitheater all summer long with Central Oregon Daily News. This week, we're giving away 2 tickets to Bush on July 26th. And